Hello, hockey fans. This is Sam Paolini with on Wednesday, October 26th, 2011. Our second show here, going over all the NHL coverage from last night. Three games on the board tonight. We'll be hitting, talking about those, some injuries that have occurred, and from there we'll jump right into it. Starting off last night. Recap a little bit of last night. We had Pittsburgh beating the Islanders 3-0. Malkin, I thought, looked great in that game. He was right back in form. So expect a lot from Pittsburgh going forward there. Ottawa 3-2 over Carolina in a shootout. A lot of upsets last night. The Ottawa score didn't really surprise me too much in terms of Ottawa winning the game. I thought they were, they had a live shot going into Carolina with Carolina's defense playing so poorly. They did win in a shootout. Tampa Bay 4, Buffalo 3. What a great comeback there by Tampa Bay against Buffalo. Buffalo once again falls on home ice as they lost to Carolina as well on their home ice. So, like I said yesterday during my video, this might give Tampa Bay some confidence going forward, winning the game like this, and that might be something they need just to spark them going forward. Columbus wins their first game 4-1 against Detroit. James Wisniewski back in the lineup for them. I mentioned that yesterday. He did provide a spark for them, but Columbus did jump out to a quick 2-1 lead, and they held on to that and scored a couple late ones to beat that great Detroit team 4-1. San Jose 3-1 over Nashville. Nashville tied it up late 1-1. San Jose came right back, scored another goal about 90 seconds right after Nashville scored late in the third, and then added a late one as well. Nashville once again having trouble to score. I mentioned it yesterday that they've scored less than 2 goals in now 6 games that they've played. So this Nashville team plays good defense. It's just they have trouble scoring, and that might hold them back going into the rest of the year. San Jose, I can't say enough about them. Once again, winning on another road game, their third in a row here, beating New Jersey, beating Boston, now beating Nashville. They have a solid road team so far this season. They go into Detroit to play later in the week, and that's a game we should really take note of. Chicago comes back, beats Anaheim 3-2 in a shootout. Good win for them. Showed me a lot coming back in that game, and once again Anaheim didn't get enough done offensively. Now I shouldn't say again, but just didn't get enough done offensively against a good defensive team in Chicago. Edmonton 3, Vancouver 2. Luongo gets run out of that game in the middle of the second period. Surprise, surprise. And Edmonton, team that struggles to score goals, does put up 3 and able to win the game against the Vancouver team, who did struggle a bit on the power play last night. They had enough chances to get to tie the game or to take to score some goals, and they just didn't take advantage of their power play opportunities. Dallas 3, Phoenix 2. Dallas won in a shootout that went up, I believe, 8 rounds. Another low-scoring game there with those two teams. Tough to predict what that Phoenix team is going to do, but Dallas, you're gonna get a lot of great defense and a lot of great goaltenders from Lettinen, and once again he proved that last night. Jersey and Los Angeles. Said yesterday during the video that I thought Jersey was in a good spot yesterday, facing the backup in Bernier. LA did snap their 3-game shutout streak. New Jersey puts in 3 against them, and that's a nice big live dog in Jersey. Tonight we have 3 games on tap. Montreal at Philly, and we have Colorado at Calgary, and St. Louis at Vancouver. So we'll jump right into it right now. Philly at Montreal. I think the biggest story here is the eye injury to Chris Pronger Monday night. You definitely can't overlook that. Pronger's, in my mind, the top 3 defensemen in the game right now, behind, I shouldn't say behind, but I kind of group all 3 of these guys together. Chris Pronger from Philly, Robin Regehr from Buffalo, and Zdeno Chara from Boston. I sometimes throw Brooks Orpik into that mix from Pittsburgh and Douglas Murray from San Jose. But these are types of guys that they change the way the game's played. Philly's such a better team with Pronger in the lineup. There's really no question about that. I mean, when you have a great defenseman like that, if you've played hockey or you've played the game before as a forward, you know that when you're going up against a tough defenseman like those guys, you almost go to the other side and go down the other defenseman's lane, because it's tough to play against those guys. It's tough to play in the corner against them. They change the way the game's played. and Philly losing him is a big blow to them. He'll be out 2 to 3 weeks, but Philly's done everything that's been asked of them this season. I think they're seeing tremendous growth in their young guys in Giroux and Van Riemsdyk, and obviously getting a guy like Yager to produce is key for them. They did lose 2 in a row at home before beating the Leafs 4-2 on Monday night. So sort of back on track, I guess you can say. And they go into Montreal facing a Montreal team that's really struggled this season. And it's really no surprise to me. They had a few injuries early on that hurt them and held them back. But, tonight they're pretty healthy. Although Max Pacioretty is out with an upper body injury. So, but I thought Montreal played a really good game against Florida on Wednesday. I'm sorry. Today's Wednesday. On Monday night they played Florida. I thought they played a really good game against Florida. It's just unfortunate that Markstrom was played so well in net for Florida. I mean, they peppered him with 41 shots, and the kid stood on his head for Florida to steal that game from Montreal. Both teams taking off after the game tonight. Montreal goes to Boston for a game tomorrow night, and Philly goes back home to face the Jets. So, I mean, is this, in my mind, is this a must-win game for the Canadians? It's fans are up in arms. They're booing the team off the ice. The team's 1-7, struggling to score goals. Or 5 of the 8 games they haven't scored more than 1 goal. 5 of 8 games they've scored 0 or 1 goal. It's pretty that's struggling to say the least. And their power play is under 10% so far this season, and that's in the NHL. That's second worst, only to St. Louis. So I say this is probably as close as a must-win game as you can get for a team this early in the season in Montreal. Just because Philly's a playoff team, and you really have to measure yourself against top teams in the league, and it'll be interesting to see how Montreal responds tonight. Moving on to Calgary. Calgary hosting Colorado tonight. What a surprise this Colorado team has been this season. It's definitely surprised me. I thought they'd struggle too much defensively to put up much of a fight in the West. But their offense has been great at times, and they're doing enough defensively to get the wins, especially on the road. Generally, you don't see the home road splits that you see with this Colorado team. 6-0 on the road, 0-2 at home so far this season. You can make an argument. They're a younger team. Maybe they feel a bit too much pressure at home. Then again, they did play one of the games was against Chicago at home. Anyway, it's a little too early to make an assumption like that they're going to play better on the road for the entire year. Just too much of a small sample size. But one thing's for sure, that this team plays hard on the road, and I'm expecting another hard game from Colorado tonight. Calgary, on the other hand, has been a little disappointment this season, but I called that from the beginning of the year. I thought this team was going to struggle. They started off the year 2-5, and they're averaging just 2.1 goals a game on offense this season. And they didn't make enough moves in the offseason. Offensively, I thought they brought in Tanguay, they brought in Jokinen, and they kept, obviously, Ginla's still there. But those guys are getting older, and this team's getting a little bit older, and I just don't see how they're going to be a playoff team this season. I really just don't see, especially giving up a guy like I mentioned, Rick Gear, to Buffalo. You give away a guy like that, your defense automatically drops down a peg. And that being said, they're in the midst of a 6-game homestand. Looking at tonight's game, as a game unto itself. They are in the midst of a 6-game homestand. They catch Colorado tonight in the game where Colorado leaves right after the game, and they head home to play Edmonton on Friday night. So I think we'll see a little bit of a low-scoring game here. I think Calgary can really only win this game if they shut down the Colorado power play, which is running 3rd in the league right now. Hitting a 29% clip. So much like Montreal, the Montreal game, I think that this is a really sort of a must-win game, huge game at home for the Flames this early in the season. I hate using the term must-win when you're 7 8 games in the season, but when you have a fan base as loyal as the Canadian fan base, as knowledgeable as any Canadian fan base. And you have the Flames who have a great fan base as well. And these guys, they know hockey, and the fans know hockey, and they're not going to accept losing. And so for two teams like that playing at home, I would say those two games are must wins this early in the season. Moving on, St. Louis to Vancouver, the last game on the card. I mentioned before, surprise, Roberto Luongo gets taken out of the game against Edmonton last night. Talk about a guy who's all or nothing here in Roberto Luongo. I'm not even a Vancouver fan, and I get frustrated sometimes watching this guy play. It's just he's just absolutely amazing and then other times you're left shaking your head, wondering, what the heck is he thinking? And there's really no better example of that than last year in the Stanley Cup Finals when we saw Luongo shut out the Bruins twice, and then he'd get pulled from games just because he'd be out in La La Land. So the biggest Jekyll and Hyde probably in the league in terms of goaltenders right now. But that being said, what kind of Luongo we're going to get tonight? I can't answer that. I don't even know if Roberto can answer that. So the Canucks did play last night. They played in Edmonton. They did travel home now to play the Blues tonight, who are a very talented and deep team. I think people aren't giving this Blues team enough credit. They are 4-4, but they have a ton of young guys like Backus, Stewart, Shattenkirk. You mix those guys in with the older guys, experienced guys such as Langenbrugge, Arnott, Nickel, McDonald, who's been hurt. You have Heron. You have guys on that team that it makes them a very deep team, and I think they're going to go only as far as their goaltender Halak will take them, and their defense can take them, because I think they do struggle a little bit defensively at times to win the games, the games that are close games, games where they're not going to be able to score four goals in a game. And they're going to have to win those close games, but I'm not sure that they're quite ready for that yet. They do play Vancouver, Calgary, and Edmonton to finish off this road trip. Sitting at 4-4 at 500, they're still in the mix, and they're definitely a team to watch, and a team that I like this season. Tonight's going to be tough going against the Vancouver team, though. Especially if I mentioned earlier, St. Louis is bottom in the league in the power play department, and if you're struggling on special teams, it's really tough to beat a Vancouver team. Vancouver will eat you alive on special teams if you're struggling, and so special teams will be critical tonight. Especially these two teams have played the last 4 games last year against each other with final scores of 3-2, 3-2, 3-2, and 3-1. And you go back even further, you're going to see close games as well. So these two teams generally play 1-goal games, close games. So you got to think special teams is going to be a key here. In the way St. Louis is playing on the power play, I don't like the way they're playing on the power play. Even though Vancouver did play last night, I think we'll see it's definitely not a must-win for either team. I think both teams, are comfortable kind of where they're at right now. It's not a situation where we have Calgary and Montreal, but nonetheless, it's 2 points up for grabs in the Western Conference. So should be a good low-scoring, tight checking game in that one. That is it. Take a look at the Pronger if you want to do a little more research on the Pronger injury. Dig a little deeper into that and see how the Flyers played without him. I remember last year they were sort of even. They didn't drop down too much, but I think having an injury like that and having their captain out of the lineup with such a younger team, that might affect them. Going forward, we have a lot of games on the card tomorrow night, so I will be here going over every game on the board. That is it for today. Good luck and goodbye.